Okay, I'm going to transition to us. My mic unmuted. Hi, okay, we're going to be casting Division A West. We're a little bit late starting here, so we're going to jump straight into it, go over some map selections really quick. The lobby's set up, they're waiting, so let's run through this real fast. Coin toss was won by Running Wild tonight. They opted for first pick, giving map pick over to Fancy Flightless Fowl. Map bans Hanamura and Infernal Shrine coming out from the side of Runnin' Wild. Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire from the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl. Like I said, map pick by Fancy Flightless Fowl, bringing us to BOE. And let's get into this. It looks like they're all set to go, like I said.
Yeah, absolutely. My green screen's doing a bunch of funky stuff. I apologize to everybody here, holding everybody up and stream my end of it. Your Jazzy always looks fantastic, but my end's going to be a little janky for now here. Once we get off cams, I can readjust stuff.
I think you're fine. You look good. Daxx is just coming off a win himself. Congrats on that win.
Thank you. That was one of the hardest, I think, 3-set series I've played in a long time.
All right. Into game number 1 we go. I'm late here. But as I said, Battlefield of Eternity, first map of the night here, picked by Fancy Flightless Fowl. Teams are on the wrong side. I didn't realize until we got into the game. There, fixed it. All right. You're really using up all of that time to figure out how they're going to draft, and it's going to be the Samaru taking away first ban on the side of Runnin' Wild.
All right. So, yeah, that's just... He's just one of those heroes. If someone plays Samuro really well, it's just really oppressive. You can get in the back line and split push. You can do a lot of things well as the Immortal Race, as we see the Vala band here.
I don't know if that is a target ban onto anyone on the side of Runnin' Wild. I'm sure that Salvaje could play a Vala if she wanted to. I feel like she probably does. But, you know, not an unusual ban to see brought out at Battlefield of Eternity, as she does provide pretty good race on the Immortal.
Yeah, I would say almost the best, if not maybe Artanis with amateur opponent can race it pretty well. But a lot of options left open here. We're going to see that ETC ban still just a front wall, just a front wall that you kind of don't want to deal with in these tiny little choke points. Sliding people that are maybe stuck in a stun on the CC train there and getting that reset.
I'm interested to see what Runnin' Wild prioritizes as they opted to go for first pick, if there's something that they really wanted to try and grab here.
I would think maybe Li Ming. I know Salvaje plays a good Li Ming, but Rainer's still on the board here. Rainer's really good. But as I say, D.Va is still left on the board here.
This is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen Salvaje play D.Va, so I'm excited to see how this plays out. I love the Diablo Greymane combo coming out from the side of FFF, though.
Yeah, Triple Fs, they are showing their hand here, and I want to see how they want to deal with this. Maybe Anduin Light Bomb, Rhaegar Ancestral, to try and save anyone that is getting blown up. But I think the Yield of Faith might be the best option here. But then again, Plasty plays a fantastic white main, and she is, really good in these tight choke points. But here comes the old man himself, and another good counter to dive is that good old sleep.
So imagine we're going to see another tank ban coming out from the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl, as that would choke a lot of tank picks for whoever. I believe Karu is tanking on the side of Runnin' Wild. So there we go. There's the Garrosh ban. So that means, what's left for her to pick here that you can expect her with Diablo gone, Mei banned, Garrosh banned, ETC banned. I guess Joanna is still up and available if she wants that.
Yeah, Jo wouldn't be bad. I mean, auto attack is most likely auto attack Diablo there, Greymane, and then any other else, probably a Li Ming or a Chromie on that side for the extended poke on the Immortal. But I was thinking Arthas wouldn't be bad either in these tight little choke points, but we'll see that Sylve ban. Her trait Black Arrow is just really oppressive in any map with some sort of pushing objective. But then we're going to see Stukov and Orphea here. So it looks like that 3F just absolutely wants to team fight. Maybe Greymane can solo some race if need be, but just Diablo, combo into Stukov into Orphea's stuff is just kind of gross. I'm almost expecting a Leoric on that side as well in the off lane.
The nice thing about an Orphea too, she can kind of close that gap when Diablo dives in to follow up on whatever he goes for, and you called it right with the Arthas there. I'm really not a fan of Arthas right now. I just think he's a little bit too weak of a tank. He's too easily shredded down, doesn't really provide enough utility for his teammates to kind of do anything and get picks with. And the other thing, they took 2 AA heroes on the side of Running Wild. I'm worried that they're going to have a little bit of trouble securing kills. They're going to be able to poke a lot of damage, but not really anything to kind of burst someone down and secure a kill with.
So I'm guessing that's probably going to be maybe in these team fights what Savahe is going to want to do. I mean, they're going to be able to whittle somebody down.
Sorry, Fancy Flightless Fowl are just like swapping around all these heroes for a second there. Just debating us into who's playing what.
Yeah, no, but I do like the Arthas into this. They're going to have to kind of be mounted in a bush. Kairu's going to have to do their best to stay off vision so that way they can jump on the back line there, because he's not, like you said, come 10, even with Cursed Bullet, he's not the greatest catch tank, especially with like I said, the Diablo and the Stukov. But Diablo's self-sustain is contained in the auto attacks. Orphea's is the same way. Imperius is the same way. So into that team comp, I think it's a great pick. I'm just hopefully Deckard can keep him alive.
All right, well, here we are, game number 1 of this best of 3 series between Fancy Flightless Fowl and Running Wild. On the left-hand side, we have Fancy Flightless Fowl with Elfie on the Greymane, Gingy Mex on the Orphea, Gingy Boy on the Diablo, Siege Master on that Stukov, and Batmang on the Imperius.
All right, and over on the red side, we have Kairu on the Arthas, Savahe on that Diva, False Truth on the Zul'jin, Mr. Executive on the Rainer, and Plasty on that Deckard, and I present to you Runnin' Wild. All right, pause. There we go.
Now, Plasty's playing from the Philippines, so she has some major ping issues if we end up on a central server, and even sometimes West Coast, she needs to set up a VPN so that it's her ping is lowered a bit.
Yeah, it's struggled the way these people from not in the States, I think we kind of take it for granted, but I was on a team a couple seasons ago with our healer was actually from Australia, and played pretty well through the ping, but I just couldn't play Ana because the skill shots were too hard to hit.
All right, back into this after the unpause. There's someone in chat saying stream isn't showing, but it's looking like it's up for me.
Yeah, I had to refresh it. I don't know if something happened when you swapped the sides, but
oh, weird.
I just F5. Yeah, I just F5'd it and it seemed to be okay.
All right, some damage being traded back and forth here. Greymane taking quite a bit of damage from False Truth. Diablo going in, landing the stun onto False Truth. He's going to back up here.
Well, the root coming out on the Orphea there. She's going to chomp for a little bit of safety there. But Kylo getting pulled in there. I'm not sure what got her kind of pulled forward there a little bit.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird interaction. Diablo going in for the stun onto Zul'jin. Silence coming up from the Stukov. They almost find that pick onto him, but instead it's going to be the Greymane falling. First blood drawn by the side of Runnin' Wild. Karu and False Truth managing to avoid death there.
Yeah, I mean, what a trade there coming out for Running Wild there. Almost looking kind of sketchy on the Zul'jin there, but being able to turn that around and get Greymane, who kind of lunged in for that kill and found themselves in out of position here. But down Greymane, and most of their damage here, they're going to be successfully able to grab this bot camp here, I think. The Gingy Boys are not going to let them go without a fight. They're going to dive in, try to get Plasty a little bit out of position here. They're going to take a lot of damage on the front. We're going to see Plasty go down on that Deckard. We're going to see Diablo go down as well as a Zul'jin, and we're going to see a successful invade.
Yeah, unfortunately, Diablo just able to dive in there, create some space, and cap that bottom camp away from the side of Running Wild. I mean, the one good thing out of that is Zul'jin getting mad stacks. He was just sitting there hitting Diablo the entire time. So let's take a look here. He's at 4 stacks so far. We're 2 minutes into the game. It's not crazy, but maybe not worth the death. But, you know, he's scaling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the later this game goes, the more shred he's going to do the Immortal and that front line for Running Wild. But I will say, ace and a hole pickup here for Raynor. I mean, I like that. The slows coming out from Arthas as well as Deckard will get a lot of the extra damage onto the team members.
Look at this.
3F.
Looks like fancy Flightless Fowl looking for that invade now onto the Bruiser camp. Silence comes out from the Stukov. Elfie on this point with the Orphea. They're looking to get that pick onto False Truth, and he does fall here. This is now a 5v4 in favor of Fancy Flightless Fowl. Salvaje on this point trying to get her mech explosion up. If she can go in here one more time, take a little bit more damage, she might be able to pop it, but unfortunately not quite working out. 2 members down on the side of Running Wild. And that siege camp, or Bruiser camp, stolen by FFF. Now looking to start that Immortal burn here. They still have the Bruiser camp pushing bottom too. The walls just finished clearing that up.
Yeah, it looks like they just, the call there, Salvaje, like I said, she could have went in there and baited out that bomb a little bit and maybe capped that, but it looks like the call was to just back up and cut their losses and try and jump on this Immortal here at halftime.
Matlock says Jazzalene and Daxx casting feels good, man. Hey, Matlock, how are you?
Oh, yeah, Matlock closer as we see the defense coming out here from Running Wild. We're going to see that Diva Bomb coming out. Got to get the Q onto that, but then we're going to see Imperious kind of get locked down in there. Raynor securing the kill. And then Kyra doing an amazing job just, you know, zoning here for the defense. And then we're going to see Zul'jin just rotate over here to start burning away as we see the defense. A little dive coming out onto Salvaje. That's going to happen. With the flip over onto Mr. Executive. Getting a little low. Salvaje's a little low as well. I might have to do the snake out of here really low, but you know, those sippy cups full of Capri Sun are just sitting everywhere nicely. Great potion placement from Plastic here. We're going to see the root coming out onto Alfie, and Kyra's going to chase him down. Talk about a counter right there. They could get in the roots a little bit as well. A lot of pokes. Salvaje without the mech, a little low, waiting for some Plastic fuse, but she's got to save herself here. And the mech is back.
Look at False Truth, no help on the Zul'jin, trying to do as much shredding as possible. Unfortunately, though, it does look like Runnin or Fancy Flightless Fowl are going to get this first, or sorry, are not going to win this first Immortal. I thought they ended up winning it there, but actually, Runnin Wild grabbed it.
Yeah, 825 health. Like you said, Zul'jin had like 2 health.
He just
like,
traded
negative.
down and it was like, I am going to max DPS this as hard as I can. I'm not going to stand an Immortal stun. This is all me, baby.
I was worried. I thought he had this trait up there a little bit, and he was going to end up killing himself. But yeah, just nice job from False Truth there. But we're going to see the first Immortal here, pre-5 minutes. Doesn't get a whole heck of a lot. They do have a lot of siege damage coming out here, so at least might get a wall. We're going to see Ginger Boy stepping up, try to grab Kyra to see if she does have her medallion up. It doesn't look like it. She's not going to need it. Half health, but she's going to get those Capri Suns. A lot of poke coming out onto that. We're going to see the wall bang onto that False Truth on the Zul'jin, but rooted a little bit. Beautiful root coming out from Kyra, and then down goes Diablo. But then we're going to see a trade back onto that Zul'jin, who was a little bit low, but great poke coming out from Raynor here. They don't stand in the Orphea stuff, but that's okay. But Kyra's not done yet. She is bloodthirsty. She wants to step up. She wants some more of these kills.
I think that's all we're going to see here. We just saw Orphea miss her Q, so she doesn't really have any abilities to close that gap now. Diablo is back up, though. He had his, I don't know if he had his, he did have his souls, I think.
Yeah, so he's going to be completely squishy from this point on. And I will say, Orphea, going Q build, not bad. She can get percent-based damage onto that Arthas and Diva a little bit later if she continues to go that Q build. Q build for Stab Daddy himself, and then auto attack.
Let's take a look up here at Stab Daddy himself. See how that matchup is going. I feel like Salvaje is holding the lane pretty well here. She has her mech explosion almost up. Looks pretty equal so far.
Yeah, he's been back for a handful of times. I mean, they just kind of want to trade in and out. They both have some great sustain if Salvaje.
Diablo going in for the stun onto Raynor here, flips him over. Greymane trying to follow up, but it's going to be Orphea securing the kill. Silence was underneath. They end up getting the counter pick onto Diablo. Orphea looking to get a little bit more damage out onto the Arthas, but no more picks here. So 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane. Level 10's almost online now for FFF. Bruiser camp up and available here, so we're going to see a rotation by Fancy Flightless Fowl to pick up this Bruiser camp. Level 10's now online for them as well. Bruiser camp on the side of Runnin Wild just coming up now. I'm wondering if we're going to see another invade here, if they can make it in time.
All right, Bruiser camp getting picked up by Triple F there. We're going to see the camp rotation here. We're going to see Salvaje and try and catch 10 for her team, though we'll get it from the camp here as we turn our attention here to the second objective of the match.
We do have a massive shove coming out from the Stukov, Cursed Bullet from the Greymane, but here's an engage here. Salvaje getting quite low, has to pop her mech explosion already. And that Stukov just kind of getting stuck in the middle of everything. He's going to fall, and now D.Va in the back line. Diablo's going in for the APOC combo, manages to catch 2 members of Runnin Wild, and down goes the Raynor and the Arthas. Tazdingo popped by the Zul'jin, looking to get that pick onto Imperius. Doesn't quite work out, and now Alfie going in to finish him off. We still have Orphea and Diablo fighting this D.Va in the backline over here. Plasty alive as well. Potions are on the ground, looking to secure those, and we're at halftime for Immortal already.
Yeah, but we still got camp pushing for Triple F down here. That's going to secure that first fort of this game here, which means if they do get this objective here, it will go top. But you know, potentially looking at 2 forts here on the second objective.
And that's the fort falling right now, and Immortal Burn just shredded on the left-hand side here. So this Immortal definitely going over to Fancy Flightless Fowl.
Yeah, and then Stukov just shoving Arthas back to Northern there. Not one any part of him just stepping up onto that team.
This Immortal going top this time, as that camp did secure the bottom fort. And it looks like D.Va and Imperius are going to stay in the bottom lane for Soak to de-push that a little bit. So camp still needed to be cleared up once the Immortal phase was done here. This is a pretty healthy Immortal for this push.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see the wallbang onto that Stukov, everything getting dumped onto him. He's not going to have Tazdin do. He did pop it there in that last objective, and we will see souls back onto Diablo, so he is a thick boy. We're going to see the APOC combo coming out onto Cairo there. She's still living, doing her thing. Auto attacking this Diablo. Alfie getting a little bit low. We're going to see the wallbang onto that keep, and she's going to be able to sneak away. Let's see if there's any Capri Suns there. I'm not sure if they have the lead, but we're going to see the Q. Oh, great. Oh, what an amazing peel from Salvaje there. And great concentration from Cairo there instead of beelining it right for the wall there.
They're going to get a counter pick onto the Diablo here. We saw Raynor fall. Stun comes out from the Imperius, and here comes the mech explosion. Cairo getting pretty low here. Probably not in their best interest to keep chasing this, as they're missing members themselves on the side of Running Wild, and they're down a talent here. Immortal's still kind of chunking away at that top keep, with Plasticine the only one there to defend it for now. But it's going to get cleaned up. Level 13's, you know, being approached by the side of Running Wild, but Fancy Flightless Fowl still up about a level on XP.
Yeah, great defense there. Way to get the pick on the Diablo. They can burn his souls there. Like you said, down a talent here. So this camp, if they are...
Here's Diablo going into the stun onto the D.Va, flipping her, looking to try and get the pick here. She is going to get popped out of her mech, and now looking to run away. She's in a little bit of a sticky situation. Avoids the crushing jaws from Orphea, but she's just getting chased down. She's going to end up falling here.
Yeah, stalling it out there a little bit. Going to get 13s online for her team there. They're just going to rotate different spots and clear the camp. As we see, I thought they were going to maybe try and push for a keep wall with one with Salvaje down, but they're just going to... Okay, there they are. They were just not showing on vision there.
Level 13 is now in line to the side of Runnin Wild, so we are on equal talent tiers for the moment. But that level lead gap widening right now for Fancy Flightless Fowl. They're going to hit 16 way ahead of Runnin Wild if they keep on going how they are.
Yep, we're going to have Imperius clearing the wave top, so as Salvaje rotates down here to try and maybe get a pick here and get the full defense on the team here. She's going to dive in there onto that Greymane, and she is going to get pushed back to the team. Stay wild and listen coming out here.
Yeah, this is a 5v4 for the moment. Imperius is on the way down now, and they're getting kind of low on the side of Runnin Wild. They wanted to take that fight before level 16s were up, but they just couldn't do anything with it. Weren't able to find any picks, and, you know, the entire time not soaking top lane, so that XP gap widening even more in favor of Fancy Flightless Fowl.
Yeah, not bad. Now, Running Wild may have to try and pick a fight here. They may have to defend before they get 16s and get invaded on. But let's see what happens here as we already see Greymane working on clearing down that Immortal race.
Diva's catching a wave top, but she really needs to be with her team if they're going to try and force something here before level 16s. Out comes the APOC combo, connects onto the Rainer, followed up by the Crushing Jaw, but the potions are healing him up. He's going to survive for now. Diablo going out with another stun onto that Rainer, and down he goes. False Trick doing what he can to just kind of chunk down the Diablo, but no picks from the side of Running Wild yet, and now 2 more members falling. We see the Rainer and Zul'jin getting picked off, followed by the Deckard.
Yeah, a little bit rough there, and I think, like you mentioned in the draft, I think maybe just a lack of burst damage is just kind of, you know, Immortal Race, they are great, but when it comes to these team fights, like, it's just a lot of sustain and a lot of poke, and Stukov is good into that with just spreading his boogers.
Hero getting quite chunked there, but Diablo is tanking this keep. Unfortunately, not able to find the pick onto him here. But they are able to defend this keep. It's not going down yet. Halftime of Immortal is hit. Greymane's clearing out top lane as they have that Bruiser camp pushing up there. And the chase is on. Diablo dives back in onto that D.Va. And now they're just going to look to retreat. Greymane already on the...
that bomb away.
Already on Running Wild. Yeah. Already on Running Wild's Immortal here. Level 16s are online for FFF. So they have the advantage here. A little bit risky for Running Wild to be fighting. But they're going to do it anyway under the defense of their Immortal. Zul'jin getting picked off, though. The wall bangs coming out from this Diablo are on point tonight. Crushing Jaw comes out, but it does not connect onto anyone. Trying to get that counter pick onto someone of Fancy Flightless Fowls, but it's not happening. APOC comes out, connects onto the D.Va, and stun goes out, going onto the Arthas. The target back onto the Deckard now, who does get picked off by the Orphea. Carol looking to get out of here, and it does look like she's going to safely retreat. The 3 members down once again on the side of Running Wild, and now they have to defend this keep with a full health Immortal, and only 2 members left up. This is likely a core call coming out here in just a minute, as this keep is going to be shredded through before the Immortal even gets here.
Right, absolutely, and here we go. Like you said, this is going to be a core call. No 16s online for Running Wild here, but let's see what they can do on this defense. We're going to see the root coming out onto that Imperius, trying to slow him down a little bit. The bomb's coming out, going to give them a little bit of space to kind of step up on this Immortal. Stukov's going to shove that away, try and help his team. The Q coming out onto Kairu, but it's not going to be enough for the Deckard. Sleep coming out, trying to save Kairu, but she's a little bit low. Running to her fort. Salahe's doing a great job of trying to get some chunk damage out onto the front line of Triple F. Has Dingo getting popped here. Auto attacks coming out onto that Diablo. We're going to see the Orphea ult coming out, but no being able to catch anybody there. Salahe getting a little bit low, trying to poke down Greymane in the back as his full health Immortal is wailing away on this core here. It is down below 50% health, and we're going to probably see Q coming out from Imperius, the wallbang coming out, and the Rainer is going to get the lead here. But everybody is low on the side of Triple F, but that is going to be game 1 going over to Fancy Flightless Fowls.
I just feel like Running Wild's draft needs a little bit more direction. Like, I kind of feel like, you know, when you're playing down in some lower divisions, you can just kind of pick what heroes everybody's comfortable on and make it work. But as you get into these higher divisions, Division A, heroic divisions, you really come together with how you pull these comps and how everything synergizes together. And when you pick a comp like you have on the side of Running Wild, there's not really a lot to work with. I mean, you have a stay a while. Okay, what do you do off the stay a while? Hope you can maybe get a D.Va bomb into it and nobody is woken up in the entire stay a while, the entire time that the D.Va bomb is sitting there going off. Like, that's pretty much it, you know?
Yeah, you know, Deckard is such a great pick. I mean, even with the Ruby nerf, but, you know, maybe it could have been a Lucio, you know, going the armor ult to save anybody else in there, giving the speed boost to the Arthas to engage on that team. Like I said, Arthas isn't that great of a catch tank. Maybe the Mei would be better there with the slows and the roots. But I think Arthas just needs to be in an aggressive team comp to work there with the D.Va. And then, like you said, their damage, maybe a little bit of dive there would help them.
Yeah, just like I said, I just feel like the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl, they kind of had something to play around. They were looking to get, they went in with a lot of kind of dive and a lot of follow-up. Orphea and Greymane quite capable of following up on those stuns coming out from Imperius or the stuns and flips coming out from the Diablo. Whereas the side is Arthas is you have a root and then everyone's just kind of sitting there slowly, you know, AAing them down. It's not happening. You just have no kill potential really on the side of Runnin' Wild. Now, maybe if they had taken Guillotine over Tazdingo, I think that's the one way they could have made this comp work a little bit better. You know, they throw out the root or the stay a while and listen, and that's used to secure a kill instead of just saving yourself for a couple seconds in a team fight and then, you know, some of the time ultimately dying anyway.
Yeah, good point. And then just Orphea, she just pumps out so much damage. I mean, 11 and 11 and no deaths, being able to get those wiggles in on that Q build.
Yeah.
80k damage, and you know, it participated in all of the kills but one for her team. So maybe a respect band coming out here in game 2.
Yeah, 11 and 0 on the Orphea. Just a little nasty Orphea coming out on the side of fancy Flightless Fowl. Well, let me swap back over to you. And I don't think that there is a map pick yet. Still waiting to hear on whether Running Wild is going to go with first pick or map pick, as they did lose that first game of the series tonight.
I don't think that's one of Diva's better maps as well. I don't know. I don't play her very often. I actually haven't played her since the rework, but I can't say that her burn is that good. And unfortunately, just that Stukov, you know, so every time she was able to get a bomb, it was just kind of pushed in a different area.
Yeah, and you know that the other thing is I just haven't been impressed with Diva. I don't think I've seen a series where she's pulled off a win yet. I know that everybody keeps going on about how busted she is apparently, but I just don't see it translating in these games that I've been casting.
And that could be the difference, but like you said, between, you know, solo queue, Storm League, or just Storm League in general versus maybe these you know, competitive games where people know how to deal with her. I mean, she does a tremendous amount of damage, but again, just maybe not being able to secure the kills there might sway it one way or another.
All right, a lobby is up. I'm just taking notes here about how game 1 went down. Yeah, I just think that Running Wild needs a little bit more draft synergy, and they can make it work.
Yeah, I think the Li Ming was still open, the Chromie was still open. You know, both some mages that can kind of.
Yeah, that's surprising too, because I mean, we know that Salvaje plays Li Ming and Chromie, and they opted not to go for any mage at all, instead going full AA there when they had these things that they could have picked up and would have paired really nicely, actually. Like a big orb missile combo onto a stay a while and listen or a root target, like that you know, that would have worked. That would have completely changed their draft, and I feel like that game could have went totally different, and you're not giving up Immortal Burn at all for that.
Yeah, it's almost like Christmas morning, you know, like especially with the way people view Diva right now. It's just like, she's available, we have first pick, do we just take it? And then you take it because it maybe, you know, potentially is maybe broken or overpowered, and then, you know, like you said, you just don't do anything with it.
Yeah, and kind of what I've heard about the Diva too is, if you're a Diva main, she's an absolute disaster to deal with, like absolute headache, and definitely you should ban it. But if you weren't somebody who was like a Diva main and really felt super comfortable playing Diva before the rework, she's not going to be super shining for you after the rework, at least not until you get a ton of practice in. And I can't say that, you know, some of these Diva players necessarily have got a ton of practice in on her yet.
Yeah, she's just annoying to kill. She's very hard with that Q and those boosters, being able to get out of some sticky situations with a bomb, and, you know, in the aspect of like maybe Lily or Valera or some of those other heroes that kind of snake away with like 5 health, and it's just kind of frustrating that maybe some teams tend to try and overchase and kind of get caught out.
Well, let me update our map selections here really quickly. Like I said, we are going to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 2. Let me see who picked this one.
So it says Team 2 is the first draft team. So my guess is fancy Flightless Fowls picked this map.
Yes. You would be correct. So let's look at these map selections here now that I have the teams flipped in the right colors for what the lobby set up like. Fancy Flightless Fowl taking game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity. That map picked by them, won by them. Game number 2, Runnin Wild opting to go with first pick once again. This time we are going to Tomb of the Spider Queen, picked by Fancy Flightless Fowl. Now, map bans, Hanamura and Infernal Shrine taken away by Running Wild, Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire banned out by FFF, so we won't be going to any of those maps tonight if we get a game 3 in. They're looking for the readies in chat. I'm ready, and I'm going to let them know.
Let's do it.
We can get into game number 3 here.
All right, Tomb of the Spider Queen. We are looking for those spider gems. Wave Clear is the name of the game here. Maybe Johanna, Kael'thas, Jaina, Blaze. Just a lot of good heroes with a lot of good wave clear.
Tomb of the Spider Queen.
You know what? I'm wondering too, the side of Running Wild, do they always stick with the same tank player? Because I know that there's some other players on their team that are quite capable of tanking and can be quite aggressive tanks and effective tanks. So I don't know if like they've just said we're going to stick to these roles every single time, or if they swap it around.
Yeah, that's some teams take advantage of it. I know earlier in our game today, we finally was able to use some of these swaps. Like you said, because you can kind of first pick something, and more so with the off lane, right? So like Malthael is really good on here, and if they first pick Malthael or late pick Malthael into say an Imperius or what have you, you can pick up the Rainer later on and then swap it.
This is going to be that Imperius being banned out. That one a target ban from last game, as Fancy Flightless Fowl did pick that up for their solo laner last game. And they're going to opt to ban out that Diva, which
I think that's just something you kind of don't want to deal with, right? She can just get on the back line. She can be really disruptive, booping people around. And then there's that Samuro. So that must be a target ban, seeing that again the second time here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they just don't want to deal with it, she was able to secure a couple kills. But I thought for the most part, I don't know.
Yeah, just in case, right? And then there is the Mei ban, not wanting anything to do with that. I mean, Zol is still on the board here. Zol is a good pick up there. But Cairo going with that cow, I don't blame her. First pick, first ban worthy in my mind still.
I like the ETC pickup coming out from Kara over here. She does play quite a bit of ETC, so a little bit maybe more comfortable tank for her to be in, as last time tank picks were choked pretty decently after bans. And I think he's pretty good for catching people on rotations too, so they can kind of build a comp around capitalizing on, those power slides and follow-up damage. That might be okay. Maybe pick up a mage this time.
Yeah, if he does get caught out, a little more mobility to get out of places and displacement versus the Arthas in the first game here. But yeah, same pickups. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But we're going to see Diablo and the Greymane coming out, and then we're going to see False Truth on the Tychus this time. And this isn't a great, let's say, a Li Ming map for Savahe here, so we're going to opt for the Stukov. So my guess is we're going to see a mosh pit into that stinky arm combo.
So I think the Stukov might have just been, let's take it away from them, as we had some pretty nasty silence coming out from the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl last game. So maybe they didn't want them to have that Stukov again, grabbed it themselves. I mean, what you can do is you power slide, put the silence underneath the target, and as long as the ETC holds off on hitting his knockback, it's pretty easy to secure a kill. But I still think they need a nice mage to kind of follow up on that damage, because Tychus ain't going to cut it if they're looking to get kills off of power slides and ETC CC.
Yep. And then there is that Orphea ban, but I will say Mystery Executive picked up the Stukov, so that leaves Plasty open to pick whatever her heart pleases here. I don't know what mages she plays. I normally get to catch her in the healer role, or she plays offlaners. I mean, we could see Sylvahe. I mean, Chromie is still on the board. Her W does a lot of wave clear. But we're going to see that Brightwing.
The only mage I know off the top of my head is Mephisto, which I can't say that I'm excited for. Just because he doesn't have like a ton of burst damage to catch people on rotations if they're going to try for that. You know, it's a little bit like his Lightning Nova, a little bit more sustained damage as a mage. But, I mean, he could set up some cool... Oh, it's going to be the Kael'thas.
Okay, I like this a lot. I mean,
this
they can
is a little better. All right.
And then Sonya on this map is going to be a good pick here. So I don't know if I would pick Zol into the Sonya. Leoric is a good pick as well, but Sonya just kind of does her own thing. You kind of just have to let her push the lane out and kind of catch it if you can. Okay.
All right. I do think that Running Wild has a little bit better kill potential here. I mean, you can power slide someone, follow it up with the silence and the gravity lapse from the Kael'thas. And, you know, you can blow up targets that way. So they do have a bit better kill potential. Yeah,
I think it's a great front-to-back comp. You know, ETC can slide into that Diablo, silence underneath him, not going to be able to queue out of anything, and like you said, gravity lapse. So Diablo is, you know, and then even with the Brightwing healing, she's not going to be able to probably Z quick enough to give Diablo any sort of burst healing here. So I think that's the strat. I think that's the strat here.
Got a couple of fresh faces in chat. Stanicus, Cookie Monster, Rock. I hope you guys are all doing well tonight. Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it. But here we are. Game number 2 of our best of 3 series. Fancy Flightless Fowl on the left-hand side. And we have Gingy Mex on the Tassadar, Siege Master on the Brightwing, Gingy Boy on the Diablo, Elfie playing the Greymane, and Batman on the Urel.
All right, and in the red trunks on the right-hand side for Running Wild, trying to get this to a game 3. We have Kairu on the ETC, Savahe on the Sonya, False Truth on the Tychus, Mr. Executive on that Stukov, and Plasty on the KT.
So it turns out they're not like super locked into the roles that they play, as you know, Plasty typically known as a healer, swapping off to play a mage this time and giving that heal role over to the side of Mr. Executive.
Yeah, and the Kael'thas I like to pick up. I mean, into the Brightwing maybe not so much, but I mean you're gonna have a lot of people almost standing, other than Tassadar, standing real close next to each other. So the living bombs might get a lot of value here coming later in the game.
I'm interested to see how much value this Tychus can get, because I always feel like, you know, he's not really a ranged DPS. He has to stand very close to be able to get that % damage off and really shred the front line, and it can put him in a lot of danger sometimes. So I'm interested to see how it plays out. We do have the teams kind of going to the standard rotation here. 4-man mid to top, solos in that bottom lane, and just trading damage right now, catching soak and getting gems as well they can.
Yeah, and I guess if there is a tank that I like to step up with as an auto attack, or even I play Tychus every once in a while, I guess it would be ETC. You know, Janna has W up until 10, and then that's about it. But ETC can slide and disengage with W. So maybe a little safety for False Truth there on the Tychus.
Rockwell says, I love the friend endorsement we got. She plays Mephisto, but not excited to see it. I mean, like, sure, I'm friends with people on the right-hand side, but I gotta say non-bias, and that was the only mage I thought of off the top of my head, and I didn't think it would pair well with what they drafted so far.
Oh, great medallion coming out. I think we'll buy Alfie there to save themselves from the slide and getting booth back, but we are going to see the bottom camp get re-invaded here by Running Wild, but maybe not without a fight. We do have Greymane and Urel and Brightwing down here, but they're going to rotate back up mid, maybe try and get Plasty. Plasty's going to be able to sneak out away from Diablo there as we just get back to these rotations.
I mean, all in all, I don't think they really missed too much soak. Wave mid is just crashing against the wall now. Plasty managed to stay alive, so they didn't get a counter pick or anything, and now they've hit their level 4s first. The Bruiser camp getting picked up by Greymane right now. Brightwing coming over to help him out.
Yep, and we're going to see, in the rhythm, we're going to see that big old dings coming out from Tychus here as the game goes on. So the later this game goes, the more his auto attacks, the more damage he's going to be doing there.
I wish right now with the members of FFF a little bit back doing that bruiser camp that the tank would kind of create some space for False Truth to start stacking here. But I'm hoping that he really comes online, and it's a good pick into Diablo. It can really work, because if he dives in and is out of position, you get so much damage onto him as a Tychus. So I'm excited to see if he can make it work. We have that wall coming out from Tassadar. Fortunately, Plasticine able to back out, and the stun actually goes out onto Sonya, but nothing too much happened there. No follow-up damage. Just going back down to soak that bottom lane while Bruiser Camp gets cleared out by the rest of her teammates. ETC making sure to catch that top soak so that they're keeping up on XP with the side of FFF. Turn-in's up and available now for Running Wild if they want it. They're going to grab that Bruiser Camp, and maybe with the Bruiser Camp pushing in, that'll give them enough space to be able to turn in their gems here. Does look like Sonya's trying to drop what she has, so they only need 5 more gems now turned in by Running Wild. FFF only needs 1, oh, they have it now. They have that turn in now if they want to try to go for it.
And we're going to see a little bit of scrap here. Kyra doing the best trying to zone this off. We're going to get polymorphed into that task wall. Kind of a really disgusting combo. Looks like Genji was going to go for the E, but he's going to actually go for the cube onto Plasti first, and then dive coming out. Oh my goodness! Going to be able to snake away there with less than 30 health. And maybe the counter kill onto that Tassadar, but not so much the polymorph coming out onto False Truth trying to catch him there. And the Z coming in for Tassadar, so he doesn't have to back or waste a tap here on this first objective of the game, going over to Running Wild.
I gotta say, ETC and Kael'thas created a nice big distraction in that top lane for them to get the turn in. But now, looks like ETC in a bit of trouble here. Gets flipped over the wall behind the fort there, and she's gonna fall. Alfie getting kind of low here, but the kill is on for Plasticine. Alfie not even scared, rolling in to try and finish that kill off. Stun goes out onto Kael'thas, but once again, just escaping with barely any health, and that top spider starting to siege in on the top fort here.
Yeah, first roll against Diablo. You can't get too comfortable standing next to those walls. I think we've all been caught, unfortunately, just getting flipped over those walls, and it's like, yep, I'm done for. See, maybe to try to gank onto False Truth because they have a dash out of the way. It's easy coming and going to catch that polymorph. Alfie getting really low. Savahe spinning to win. Nothing's going to finish there as Diablo comes down. Gets a wallbang onto Savahe again, but nothing's going to happen there as we see the offlaners rotate down bottom, and we're going to see some positioning for Triple F for their first turn in of the game.
Now Yrel trying to get the turn in bottom, but Salvaje keeping an eye on that. That's not going to happen. We have a fight going out mid. Alfie getting quite low. They managed to get the pick onto the Greymane. Now looking to chase down this Diablo. Karu just trying to body him, but he is going to be able to use his Q, push her back, and get out of there. Power slide comes out from the ETC. Lots of damage being dumped onto this Diablo. Is he going to survive here? He has that stacking damage onto him, but fortunately, Brightwing going to keep him alive. And out comes the phase shift onto the Diablo to heal him up even more here.
All right, and then, yep, only 5 gems needed. We have 14 on Yrel, but we're going to see Savahe trying to turn in. Gingy Boy getting turned in as well. So we're going to see the double turn in here. We're going to see the rotation down here. Greymane no longer has gems. Brightwing doesn't have enough, so maybe Tassadar can turn in. We're going to see a 3-man wall here. We're going to see False Truth getting in there and then dash out of the way. We're going to see Kyra come back on the slide. Beautiful boop onto Batman, not allowing Yrel to jump on the back onto the wall bang onto False Truth there. He's going to be able to get out of there. Yes, he is. Savahe is up in here, spinning to win. We're going to see the Stukov coming out here. Alfie sneaking away with about 25 health as well, and a great wall coming out there to kind of zone off for Batman.
Level 10's almost online now for the side of Running Wild. They're going to be able to grab those and maybe look to defend this turn in a little bit more aggressively here.
Yeah, I think at this point they just kind of have to catch the soak, let 10s come to them, and then worry about the turn-in. But as we see Savahe rotating down on the bot camp, she's going to go and take that for their team. We got 44 seconds left on their bruiser camp, and we have
Here's the
on the side.
Beautiful mosh coming out from the ETC here. No interrupt for quite a second, but the APOC comes out, and that is going to stop the mosh. Meanwhile, Diablo in the back line getting shredded quite a bit, but not for free. We do see Tychus taking quite a bit of damage. Greymane trying to go in to finish that kill off, but getting knocked back by the Stukov with that flailing swipe. They are, however, going to secure that turn-in. So basically kind of what happened there is they traded a turn-in for a siege camp in the bottom, because without the Sonya with them, it kind of made it a 4v5 fight a little bit hard to take on the side of Runnin Wild. So worth it? I don't know. I feel like that was a pretty decent mosh that they just weren't able to follow up with, and maybe having that extra body in the fight would have secured them a pick.
Yeah, it's tough, like I said, especially with the APOC. I mean, Diablo's such a good counter to the mosh pit there, so you kind of have to land him in that mosh pit if you can. And then really, so the Tychus and the KTC, but we'll see everything get dumped out onto ETC. ETC is no longer for the score. We'll see Alfie dive onto this front fort here in the mid lane, but we're going to see Phoenix coming out here, kind of catching zoning, but I think the fort is going to go down anyway. We're going to see Z coming into Genji Boy, making sure he is topped off for the next fight here. But Savaje doing a great job, only losing half the wall there bottom, and maybe a half a wall top as well.
It does look like FFF are going to look for a little bit more siege on the top. Diablo kind of zoning, trying to catch people on rotation. But they do manage to finish off that other tower in the top lane, open it up a little bit here for a potential boss pick later. But in terms of XP, both teams pretty even still.
Bring them.
Both teams also have turn-in once again, so we're going to see a little bit of a fight over these turn-in positions while teams are on equal talent tiers.
Yeah, and the lanes aren't too far pushed out into the side of Running Wild here, so you know they can afford to poke back and forth, maybe stall in a couple turn-ins. I mean, it is very detrimental to the double turn-in here, but also Truth being able to step up. But I will say the APOC is kind of troublesome for the Den on the side of Running Wild. He's Stikion coming out, Savaje popping that Berserker Rage. We're going to be able to sneak out of there. No spin to win this time.
Here's the thing, while all that was happening, they didn't interrupt the turn-in from the Kael'thas in the top, and he managed to dump in a lot of gems. The rest of the gems, though, sitting on Diablo, which is a little bit tricky because that means a person that's supposed to zone around these points has all the gems on them, making it a bit hard to get that turn-in, but he pops that APOC combo swiping. Failing swipe coming out from the Stu Cobb. Going to push everyone back for a second. Diablo's still in that back line with the Yrel, looking to get the pick onto the Kael'thas, but nothing found for them yet. Level 13's almost online now for the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl. Diablo going back in, looking for the pick onto ETC. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending what team you're cheering for, no stun connecting there. Plasticine now looking to turn in her 16 gems. The rest of FFF still around and looking to try and stall it out, but unfortunately no interrupt for Fancy Flightless Fowl. So turn in secured by Runnin' Wild.
Yeah, I see it in the chat. Just great shout outs to both of these healers there. You know, it's three kills so far. We're 10 minutes into this game, and a lot of abilities getting dumped out in that last team fight, and neither team losing a player.
Does look like we're going to see Running Wild go for that top siege, which is pretty typical here. You open up that top lane so that later, if you win a team fight, you can take that boss and look to secure keeps or win condition through the top lane with a boss as well. Power slide going out onto the Diablo. He's going to charge out of there, though, and manage to escape. We have the Tassadar wall dropped and Polymorph being popped by Salvaje. Fancy Flightless Fowl kind of retreating here, looking for the rotation up to that top lane to kind of save their top fort. It's already at half health, and that Spider's still looking pretty healthy. Rest of Runnin' Wild here to kind of secure that.
Yeah, I mean, all that time Yrel was showing their bottom. So, I mean, just a great defense coming out from Triple F here. You know, taking fights 4v5 here and still coming out with the XP lead and maybe only losing 1.5 forts per se. So still having that half a fort lead in structures.
Unfortunately, that black hole there to interrupt the mosh. The chase is on for Alfie, but the phase shift is coming out. They're going to be able to save the gray main here. So close fight, but no kills on either side. And now Fancy Flightless Fowl able to get that turn in.
Yeah, you know, a trade, you know, could be a squishy Diablo here, making their life a little bit easier with this Tychus, you know, trading a mosh pit for the souls here, as we see maybe an invade here. We're going to see the slide out, back onto that Diablo. Food's going to come out. He's going to eat that K to ZE, but he's going to Q in there, try to get that APOC combo onto that Tychus, but just a great job popping that trade from Stukov to keep all two alive here. Class is going to hit that tab, Savaje just doing what she does best, just jumping on that back line, spinning in to win. Batman a little low on the wrong side of the fence here. All Shoot's going to hit her with the trait and the grenade, and it's not going to be enough to bring down that pesky Yrel.
Yeah, no, I think that was... I have to say, I think Stukov saved that fight. I mean, the combo came out onto the Tychus, but fortunately for him, Stukov had his heal on him, as well as was ready to pop his flailing arm to kind of push everyone back. So he went from having almost no health to full health with the heal from the Stukov, saving that fight. But unfortunately, Plasticine getting caught here by that Tassadar wall, so she's going to fall here, making this push in the top lane right now a 5v4. For now, actually, a 5v3 as Sonya's still clearing out bottom.
Yeah, just trying to clear out bottom, get 16 for her team. But you can see about a little bit of a health left on this big boy spider. Trying to see how about 800 health left, so it will fall before, not before taking out maybe both towers with it here. As we see the first keep getting poked on here up top. Let's see if we back away. They do have 16, so they're not really worried about much of anything. They can take the fight here underneath the fort, but they're going to back out. They don't want to stay too long. And as we see them only needing one more gem for the turn-in, which they'll try and grab mid here.
I mean, both teams very close to having turn-ins again. Turn-in is up and available now for Fancy Flightless Fowl, but only 5 gems needed on the side of Running Wild for them to have their turn-in as well, and it does look like they're going to try and go for that interrupt power slide going out, followed up by the Mosh, and the rest of the team is not around to help them out here. They're looking to shred this Diablo and Urel. Down goes the Diablo. We have the Ardent Defender out from the Urel, and she is going to be able to escape here, but now one pick down on the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl, and they can look for that turn-in for Runnin' Wild. Keep in mind, though, they've already got those 48 gems turned in. It does look like Urel's going to try and get it in bottom if she can, but Karu is around, keeping an eye on the bottom turn-in, so that's not going to work out for the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl. And here is another turn-in for Runnin' Wild. And look at this.
Yeah, great Ardent Defender. Ooh, sniffing out that camp a little bit, but Kairo might have the slide coming back up here. They're not going to try and dive under the support here. Oh, but she's going to get caught out with that hammer in the wall, going to catch her in that little bit. And Kairo is not going to be able to stay alive there, stuck literally between that wall and the other wall.
Yeah, really unfortunate to go down there right when they get the turn in as well. You know, a little bit of miscommunication, I feel, because if her team was there, it probably would have turned out perfectly fine. They might have been able to disengage or get some counter picks, but just a little bit too much distance between where the tank was positioned and the rest of her team. They'd already kind of backed out, realizing that the camp was taken, and unfortunately Kairo getting caught.
Yeah, I mean, it was possibly a turn-in just to keep them from turning in. Kairo will be back up to help defend this, but I think it was only like 4 or 5 gems needed to be put in the bank for Triple F. So that's probably what they're going to do, is just finish clear now here and then rotate for positioning here. And hopefully this time learn their lesson and then maybe all turn in together.
Yeah, just super unfortunate pick onto the ETC for the side of Running Wild, as that really would have opened up their opportunity to, take some more structures down, potentially look for a couple more picks on the siege and then do a boss, but they really weren't able to get anything of value off of that turn-in because they didn't have a tank there to enable them with the siege.
Yeah, so we're going to see them rotate down here on the bot camp. I mean, this could be a boss play with turn-in, but they're just going to go right for the turn-in with Genji Max here. Urel's not going to start anything. They're going to start pushing out this top lane and then potentially make a boss play here. Batman holding 31 gems here. Let her, Urel, hold on to those a little bit longer. Maybe she can get a sneak in a turn-in.
At least this Bruiser camp picked up right before turn-in. It did look like FFF wanted to go for that invade, but Running Wild managing to get it out in time, just like we saw on the opposite side. A little bit of deja vu here.
Bottom 4 almost getting taken out on their own turn in there, but have a little less than 500 health here as we see the Bruiser camp meeting the Web Weaver here in the mid. But Alfie's going to be able to secure this camp pretty well as we actually are going to start heading boss lane here. Which you don't see very often, but we're going to see the entire team of Running Wild in the top just try to push out that boss lane, and we're going to see a convergence here in the mid lane.
Diablo's positioning, making sure to try and catch them on the flank. Need to be very careful about how they're rotating here. We have the danger pings out, so just teammates need to make sure that they're rotating on the top side of this fallen fort so they don't get stunned here. But Diablo coming in looking for the pick onto the Kael'thas. Fortunately, pops that Gladiator's medallion, going to be able to walk out of that APOC combo. Now we have the Phoenix out to kind of help clear out this bottom lane. They still have that Bruiser camp pushing mid to get some pressure onto that mid fort as well. But level 20 is almost online for the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl. They don't quite have it yet, so it might be a good time for Running Wild to try and take this fight, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to do here. Salvaje really on the chase for this Diablo, looking to find something. Land a stun here.
Polymorph's going to come out here. Hammer's going to come out here, but Kairo has the mock fit up. I think she's going to look for it here. There's a big chunk of people underneath this baby fort in the bot lane, and I think they're going to call it off here. They're just going to ping that fort and then try and catch some soak here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they need to play really safe. Level 20s are up and available on the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl. Classicine getting dived by the Diablo. Fortunately, doesn't get stunned into the wall. She's going to be able to escape, but here comes that level 20 upgrade. He does try to close the gap between them with that blink, but unable to find the pick there. Runnin Wild backing up here. They just need to freeze their lanes right now and look for soak. They can't really contest boss. They're down their level 20s, and if they extend too far in their lanes, then they're going to get picked off here. They're not careful.
Yeah. Yep, they need to live to fight another day. Like you said, let the 20s come to you here. You have the keep up top. You will lose that with this boss here, but like you said, live to fight another day. Almost even on gems here. 20s will be online for them. Look to fight then. But very fortunate there. I mean, the team was split 2 in that little alcove there, as the other 3 members were in mid lane there. So fortunately enough, that blink did not connect.
Right, Diablo completing his soul quest there, so when he does fall, he's just going to have that 3-second death timer and be back in the fight a little bit more squishy. So beefy Diablo going into this siege. Level 20 is almost online now for the side of Runnin Wild. They just need one real good core defense and they can turn this game around for them.
Yeah, I will say the wave up top is pushed out really far, so there is no wave here to eat any of these tower shots for Triple F or this boss here as well. So a lot of good positioning and macro play from the side of Runnin Wild here as we just turn.
Need to watch their positioning on this defense though. Diablo can, dive in here and stun them off the keep on the keep if they're not. Sorry, the core if they're not careful. But they're gonna back off here. They've almost got turn in on the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl, so they might just be looking to pick that up here. Only about 9 more gems needed before they grab that. Now 5 more gems.
Yeah, that is a tongue twister there. That's why I think I've said Triple F this entire time, because Island just is a mouthful for me.
Backming turning in a big 43 gem turn in there. Does look like we have Runnin Wild also choosing to dump their gems before they potentially get picked off again. Don't want to risk, falling behind too far there. But I mean, right now, they don't have that top keep anymore, so they don't really have the option of playing it slow. They're going to need to look for those fights eventually and try and force something. As ETC walking in, trying to delay that turn in. A Fancy Flightless Fowl is basically a penguin. Just call them penguins.
Wallbang coming out onto that ETC and blown up immediately. Did not take the Death Mosh, took the blink instead. And we're going to see the Ardent Defender coming out onto Batman. Just full health bar coming back up. Mysteries that is getting caught in that wall. They're going to pop that Gladiator's medallion, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to see the Polymorph coming out onto Savahe. Not going to be able to spin to win, as we see False Truth popping Odin here, but not being able to get any more siege damage done. We're going to see the Bruiser Camp getting picked up here, and then we will probably see a turn in here. On top of it, we're going to see the Keel and the E, and then Unstoppable coming out. False Truth is going to live to fight another day, potentially. We're going to miss the Curse Bullet there. Gingy Boy is not done yet. I think he might have the Q up off of cooldown, but not taking all those tower shots.
Even if Curse Bullet hit there, it's percent damage, right? So he wouldn't have died. He would have had, like, almost no health, but you can't kill someone off Curse Bullet, right? Well, here we go. The core race is on for Fancy Flightless Fowl. They're looking to shred this down. Getting that last pick on a False Truth. He manages to get into that base, but core's falling 29%, 13%, 9%. Black Hole to zone them off, and that's going to be game number 2, going over to the side of Fancy Flightless Fowl to close out this series for the night.
Yeah, GG's.
So I'll give you guys a rundown quickly of exactly what happened tonight if you didn't catch the first couple games here. Just give me a second to update the score. And we'll pop over to map selections and just give you guys a little summary of what happened. So, start out the evening for the coin toss. We did have Runnin Wild win that and opt to go with first pick, giving map pick over to Fancy Flightless Fowls. Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire banned out. Hanamur and Infernal banned out as well. Game number 1, we went to Battlefield of Eternity. Fancy Flightless Fowl picked that map, managed to pick up the win there. Game number 2, a lot closer, but unfortunately for Runnin Wild, Fancy Flightless Fowls managed to pick up the win there as well. So GG's, well played to Fancy Flightless Fowl. We will look to get the captain on in Discord now, and we'll do a quick interview with them.
Sounds good. And only 8 to 3 kills. I mean, to me, it felt like a lot more of a brawler match than that. And the kill count feels like it should be a lot higher than that as well. But yeah, this game 2 felt a lot closer than the first game did for sure.
Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna jump into lobby 1 if you want to join me there, and we'll do interview.
Sounds good.
Just leave these stats up for you guys to take a look at while we do the interview.
Hello.
Hello, congrats on the
Hello.
win. GG's and well played. How are you guys feeling after that?
Definitely good. It's very nice to finally get our 2-0 and first wins of the season. So it's definitely a good feeling to play our game and play the heroes we're comfortable with and get what we wanted to do.
Yeah, so you guys ran Diablo and Greymane both matches here. Is that something you typically try to draft and kind of go for in these matches?
We've been trying to work on like who plays who, and Gingy Boy usually has his really solid Diablo that we're going to try and incorporate more. Greymane's also just been one of my comfort picks for a long time and probably one of my better ranged assassins. So we just went with what we knew and what we were comfortable with, and we picked maps that worked accordingly. So Tomb and obviously BOE with all the walls, it was perfect for what we were trying to do.
Yeah, no, I love the Diablo and Greymane kind of paired together because they're both able to, Greymane's able to follow up on whatever Diablo sees and stuns, and they work really well together. So to see you guys draft them both games, I thought that was a great pickup for you guys, and you seem to be able to communicate and figure out how to find those picks, and it's working really well. A lot of synergy going on for your side.
Absolutely.
Daxx, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, were you guys at all concerned? I know you said you guys wanted to play just what you guys were comfortable with, maybe getting a good set of roles now. And then, unfortunately, the sad part of being casted is, your opponents get to see all the cool stuff you guys get to do. So, you may not get to play those heroes. But like, was this the game plan? Like you said, just Diablo. Like it didn't matter BOE, it didn't matter the map. This is just what was going to happen.
Well, we tried to pick the maps that would work for it. That's why we went with both BOE and Tomb. We have a lot of other things in our arsenal either way, but obviously, if we're gonna try and pick around our strongest setups. But in general, I think it worked out really well. We got pretty much all the heroes that we wanted, thankfully. I did appreciate the Samuro respect ban, but I don't typically play it out as much as I would like to. So it worked out, and it was just really well coordinated by us as well.
I was
Absolutely.
wondering when the bans were coming out, who on your team played Samuro, so that was you that is capable?
Oh yeah, that is definitely my little my one-trick pony. I just don't usually bust it out as much because I'm not typically offlaning.
I wouldn't say you're one trick at all. The Greymane was great tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I ask about the Diva ban going into game number 2? Did you know that they had a Diva player? Did you find that the Diva was kind of oppressive in game 1? Why did you choose to ban that over something you're more familiar that they play?
Well, Diva's just a generally strong pick, and in my opinion, even a little overtuned. And on a good map like Tomb, where you can get quick rotations and take advantage of her speed, I thought it would be probably really problematic for us if we went up against that. On BOE, not necessarily, because the value she gets is with soaking and with like quick rotations across all the lanes. But on Tomb, I just felt it would be easier not have to deal with that and potential plays with that.
And my other question is the Brightwing pickup. Not something you see too frequently, not a favorite healer. Is there a reason you decided to go with that, or was it just a comfort pick on your team?
It's both a comfort pick and also really good CC follow-up for Diablo. That polymorph is especially good, versus mosh pits and versus a lot of what they were trying to do. And it's honestly a good and underestimated pick, especially against like their blow-up comp that they were trying to do with like spell power and spell armor. So I thought it was a really good pickup, and I think it worked out pretty well with the CC follow-ups. So it's also a good comfort pick for him too.
Yeah, totally agree there. Last question. How long have you guys been playing together?
Kind of a mix of a lot of things. A couple of them are on our own Heroes Lounge team. We also have a few of my friends as well that we were playing just casually together, but as a whole group, this is our first season together, and I didn't really get a final 5-man roster until like very close to the start of the season, so we're still trying to work out the kinks that we should have done in preseason. So we're all pretty new as far as like all of us working together, but I have experience with all of them to a lot of degrees.
Actually, I lied. I have one more question. Gingy Mex and Gingy Boy, any kind of relation there, or do they just conveniently have similar names?
Pure coincidence. Ironically
Wow.
enough, it is actually pure coincidence. I met Gingy Mex first a few months ago. Several months ago. Gingy Boy, met him later on my other team, and it just happened to work out that way.
I thought maybe they were a pair of friends that joined together, like brothers or something, creating names.
They had never met each other before. It just worked out that way.
Isn't that funny? All right, well, let's get into some shout-outs. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out, Elfie, before we wrap up the interview?
Definitely Gingy Boy and that Diablo. Diablo's always nice. Otherwise, I think we just all did really well, and it was just a coordinated effort. So, just the whole team as a whole. That's pretty much it.
All right.
Check out Gingy Boy stream though. Gingy Boy XD, Twitch.tv.
All right, go give him a follow. Thanks for coming in and letting us interview you. Congrats on the win. I hope you can pick up some more wins in the future, start to get your footing in your division. I know this was kind of like the bottom two teams facing each other tonight, so maybe now you've got some wins under your belt, you'll gain that confidence to push through and get to the playoffs this season.
That's definitely the dream. We'll definitely keep working at it.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, let me get Daxx back up here. My favorite thing about casting with Daxx is you never know what he's going to show up wearing.
Yeah, well, I'm so sorry. Okay, I didn't think the game was going to last as long as it did, and it got really late. And I saw the pings as I was heading into the interview there. So, yeah, I had an outfit. I did Nexus Edge earlier and had my typical suit on. So I was hoping to be able to change back into that. Yeah.
I'm not disappointed. It's fun to see him go from like dapper Daxx and nice like tie and like vest and everything, and next time you call him up, he's like in a jersey and a ball cap.
Yep. You never know.
I'm pretty casual, so I can't complain. I have no dress standard.
No, it's you know what I just know that you like to have a little bit of professionalism on your streams here. Weenus is great. I would even offend him if I wore anything with a collar. I think on Weenus's stream, I think he would be offended. To be honest, so not trying to do that, but yeah, just try to hold a little professionalism here.
I don't even have like business professional clothes anymore. I'm trying to pick up a little pieces here or there because I haven't worked for the last 4 years. I've just been sitting on this visa that doesn't allow me to have any income. So I've had no reason to need any like business casual dress at all. I'm just like, yeah, I have a ton of like Blizzard shirts. Just a lot of them, a lot of graphic tees and sweatpants. I have nothing.
See, that's
to
my
do.
go-to. Yeah, that is my go-to attire. Like I said, I'm literally wearing shorts and a hoodie right now, and that's what I just, as long as I'm comfortable playing the game, that's fine. But yeah, same. A lot of work from home. A lot of my ties and stuff. I work in sales. They don't get used during quarantine right now. So just keep it up. You can. It's not like riding a bike. You can kind of forget how to tie a tie. So. Got to keep that trained up.
Well, that's going to wrap up our game for tonight and my stream as well. I will be casting again tomorrow with Daxx. We're going to do a double header if you want to catch those games. It's, I want to say, I can't remember the divisions. I'd have to let me check real quick, so I'll give you guys the right information.
Yeah, I was going to pull up here. So it looks like the first one will be Div B. Hollow Wife Gaming Cat Girls versus amateur opponents, and then the second one will be D West Lightly Salted versus Regen Divine.
Right, B Southeast. There's so many B divisions. Like B West,
I know.
B East, B Southeast, B East 2.
all of the airports. Any airport you want, there is a B division for it.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be casting those games. 7 p.m. Pacific time is the first match. 9 p.m. the second one. And like I said, Daxx is going to be joining me again tomorrow. Just another quick note that I wanted to mention when I was on the topic of visas. I got some cool news in. I'm potentially going to be able to apply for my work exemption real soon. So maybe soon, TM, maybe you'll be able to sub to me eventually.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be a party in here.
Yeah, it's been a really long time that I've been doing this without having that option available.
Well deserved though. I mean, you have just this wonderful community that I'm very appreciative to be a part of. All the people in the chat, Girls Gang Squad, all that good stuff that you do on the side. So hopefully we can take care of you like you've been able to take care of us over these past few years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not holding my breath for it. It could still be like months or years away, depending on how like the visa process is going on right now, and with this administration and everything like that. So it's definitely not like it's happening soon. And get ready, but it's progressing in a good direction. So I'm excited about it, and I hope something comes about it soon, because I have been just sitting here for the last 4 years, a little bored. So I'm ready to potentially get some work in, look to kind of grind a little bit and contribute to my household. But yeah,
absolutely.
Well,
I think I speak for everybody that we're excited for you.
Thanks. Let's take a look here, see if we can find somebody. I don't know if anyone is still doing NGS games tonight that we can raid over. It's getting pretty late for them.
Yes, I'm not sure.
I always try to raid somebody else's casting, but I think at this point in the night, we're pretty much, the games are done and all taken care of. I don't see any NGS titles here. So that's okay. You know what? We'll just raid one of the players that just played. I do see Plasticine is live, so we'll pass it on over to her. And I'll be back tomorrow with Daxx for some more casting. So if you are a fan of casted Heroes of the Storm games, make sure you hit that follow button. And maybe go give Daxx a follow on Twitter. You can find him at Daxx_HOTS. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks. See ya.